Okay, we are back once again to the master skills. Congratulations on mastering the first question type of the reading section. And as I mentioned in another video, these videos do not replace the lessons in the course here. They are just adding to the lessons. So even though I am going over the master skills written in the previous page, that does not mean that you can skip that page and go directly to this video. You absolutely must read the skills. By reading them and listening to them, and hopefully you're taking notes as well, that will make sure that you really synthesize these skills. You're not just learning them, but you're making them your own. So just as a quick review of the master skills for the vocabulary section. First of all, you have to identify that the question is a vocabulary question. Now, the reason for this is because there is another question that looks very similar, and that's the pronoun question, which you will learn about later. Both the vocabulary question and the pronoun question, the pronoun reference questions, have the word highlighted both in the question stem and in the reading passage, but there's a slightly different way of finding the answer. So when you look at the word that's highlighted, if it is a preposition, if it is a pronoun, magic, pronoun. If it is a pronoun that's highlighted, then it is not a vocabulary question. So if the word is not a pronoun, or if the highlighted word or phrase is a phrase instead of just a single word, then it is a vocabulary question, and then you need to go to finding the definition rather than trying to figure out which pronoun it fits with. So once you have identified that it is a vocabulary question, if you know the word or the phrase, check the answer choices. That way, it's possible, if you know the word or phrase, it's possible to get the answer without even having to refer to the reading passage. So if you know the word, check the answer choices. If there's only one choice that makes sense, then don't just immediately choose it and move on to the next question, because it's possible that there is another definition of that word or phrase that you do not know. So if you do know it and you think that there's only one possible answer, before you just choose it and move on, check that it makes sense in the context. So pick the answer and then go back to the reading passage and make sure that it makes sense if you do the replacement method. And of course, remember with the replacement method, sometimes you might have to change the word form to make it fit exactly in the sentence. When we're talking about the replacement method, we're talking about if it makes sense, not if it grammatically fits, but if it makes sense logically. So if you know the answer, choose it, but check it first. If it makes sense, move on. And that way you've saved a huge amount of time. Now, if it does not make sense, then that means that there is another definition that you weren't aware of before. And in that case, you have to go to the replacement method, making sure that the answer choices do fit logically into the reading passage. So if you are looking at the word or phrase and you know the answer, but there are more than one choice, we've used this example before, where there was more than one choice for the definition of the word or phrase, and they were all possible answers. So then you have to actually make sure that it fits. Now, you could do this by first eliminating the obviously wrong answers. That might save you some time, and a lot of times that happens mentally. You just think, well, obviously it's not A or C because it can't be. So a lot of times that happens mentally, and that's, only takes a second or two. The second one is with whatever the choices that it could be, go to the replacement method or just use logic to make sure that it fits in the sentence. Once you've determined which one it is, then choose it and move on to the next question. Now, if you don't know the word or phrase, if it's completely new to you, now you could either first eliminate the wrong answer choices and then read the sentence, but the only problem with this is that you might have, there might be a definition that you weren't aware of with the word. So You could do it that way, but I think that this second option is much better, so that you read the sentence in the reading passage first. So you read the word or phrase in the sentence, you're not sure what it is, go to the reading passage and then read the sentence that word or phrase is in, and then go to the answer choices, eliminate the obviously wrong answer choices, and then with whatever's left, if there's only one answer choice left, that's the answer. If there are more than one, then you have to go to using logic or using the replacement method. So this is a little bit of a review because we just talked about this, but after eliminating the obviously wrong answer choices, if there's only one answer choice left, then that is the answer. Now, it is possible that you could be wrong, but in most cases, you're probably right. If there's only one that makes sense, if there's only one that fits in the sentence, that is the answer. Choose it and move on. And don't spend any more time worrying about if it's correct or not. Just choose it and move on. And that is one way that you can save a lot of time. Remember, I said that this question type shouldn't take more than 20 seconds. If it does, do not let it take more than a minute. You just don't have enough time to do more than a minute, especially on this one. This and the pronoun reference questions are the two question types that you should actually be able to make up a little bit of time so you can spend more time on things like the category chart organization and the sentence insertion, which of course you will learn about soon. So if there is more than one answer choice left, use logic or the replacement method to determine the correct answer. Once you've done that, move on. If there's more than one answer choice left and you still don't know which one it is, just pick the one that feels correct. Remember to never leave an answer blank. This is because if you leave it blank and then you run out of time, then you will obviously get a 0 for that question. If you just guess, then you might get that one correct. And if you run out of time, well, then at least you make points for that. And this is a little bit of inside information, which is just now coming to the public, is that the TOEFL exam is changing once again. In August, there will be answer choices, and apparently it already has started, but there will be answer choices where there's more than one answer. So if you just choose the answer or answers that it could be, then at least you won't get a 0. So if you do not know the answer after 1 minute, pick the best answer and move on to the next one. As I've stated before, if you do this, you might get the answer correct. If you leave it blank, you absolutely will not. And then once again, just relax, man. You got this.